Hey there Titans, and welcome back to another Titan Academy video. Today we'll be talking about how to push data to Salesforce. Specifically, we'll be focusing on how you can create a new record in Salesforce, how you can update or upsert a record in Salesforce, and how you can delete a record in Salesforce. Let's get started. So I've got a basic form here, and I'm looking to, first of all, create a record in Salesforce, and then I'll show you how we can do some other cool actions as well. So we'll head over to our Salesforce cockpit over here, and we'll head over to the push. And I've already got a push set up, but we'll go through exactly what I've done here. Of course, you can create a new one from scratch. I've got an object selected, and that's the first thing that you'll do is you'll find your object. This can be any object in Salesforce, whether that's standard or custom, it does not matter. In my case, I am creating a contact, and then we also have the actions that you can run for your push. The actions are create, update, find, or delete. Today, we will be focusing on create, update, and delete, and in a future video, we'll also show you what find does, which is another very important action. So I'm selecting create here, and the last thing I need to do on this tab is write a meaningful description so I know exactly what this push does. Now next I'm going to head over to mapping, and you can see I've already mapped most of my fields here. It's just one-to-one from my Salesforce fields to my elements. Of course, I can also start with the elements on the left if that's easier. And for example here, you can see that my country value is not actually mapped to anything, and I'd like to map this to the country code in Salesforce like that, so that I can populate that field in Salesforce. I can also filter these so I can see exactly what I've got mapped already or things that I've got unmapped, and I can also filter to specific pages. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and click apply. Next thing I want to do is I need to trigger this Salesforce action. So I can set this up on a button using a condition, really anything that will take me to my action flows. And you can see I've already set this up. If you want to add a new Salesforce node, you'll do it from here. And if I go inside here, I can see that I've already selected my create a contact. And if we have additional pushes or gets, we can run them from here. I'll just show you, we can simply add it like this. We'll click next, we'll give a meaningful tag, and we'll save. All right, let's go ahead and preview this. So I'll do like Tony Richards, let's say, some phone number, some email, some street, some city, state, we'll just do New York. This is in the United States, and we'll select a date of birth, and we'll push. All right, let's head over to our logs. We can see in our logs that we're getting a contact, and this is actually hyperlinked to Salesforce, so if I click this, and if I was logged in, then we would be able to see the Salesforce contact. I'll actually just log in quickly. And here's the contact that we created with all the details that we just filled out. All right, the next thing that we can do here is we can change the action to update. Let's say this contact already exists in Salesforce and I want to update this contact. So I can select the action of update, and you'll notice a couple of things happen. First of all, I have the option to decide which one I want to update. If my query, which we'll focus on the query in a second, if I find multiple records in Salesforce that match what I'm trying to create here, do I want to update the first record that I find, the last record that I find, all of the record that I find, or just skip it if I find multiple options? In my case, I'll do first, and this will generally be the behavior you'll want. But of course, you can select any of these options. And if no match is found, for now, I'm going to skip. Next, we'll do create. This is like upserting a record so that if it doesn't find any record, let's just go right to create. If I don't find any record that matches, let's create a brand new record. And let's write a condition so that we know which fields to update based on. Right? We need to write a query to find the relevant record in Salesforce so we know what record to update. In my case, I'm going to update any record whose email matches the email on my form. Of course, you can do something much more complex. You can use record IDs here or encrypted IDs to be more secure to make sure that you're updating the correct record here. In my case, if I already have an email that matches, I rather update that record as my email is my unique identifier in this case. We can also do more complex things and say that I want the email to match the email and that the last name matches the last name, for example. All right. Let's leave it like this, and we'll go ahead and apply. Excellent. All right. And we've already connected this. It's the same push. We've just updated the action, so we don't need to change anything here. Let's go ahead and save. All right. And I'm going to refresh my preview. All right, so this time I'm going to try to update the record. So let's change the first name to John, and let's use the same last name that we used previously, which I believe is Richards. We could double check that, and we'll do same phone number. Let's just grab details from the contact itself so that we can make sure that we're updating the correct contact here. So this is the contact that we created earlier, and I'm just going to grab this email and make sure that we're doing the last name in the exact same way. Okay, and for street, it doesn't really matter. Let's put some street name, some city name, some new state. Let's switch this to New Jersey now. And United States again. Okay, and let's push that. So now if we head back to our integration logs and we refresh, we'll see that we have updated a contact, and you can see it's the exact same contact ID, so we know it's the same contact. If we refresh here on this contact, we should see a new first name and those updated address details as well. Now let's head over to here, and now let's actually show the upsert where we can also create if it doesn't match. So let's change, for example, the last name, and let's run the push now. And if we refresh in logs, we can see that the update ran, but you can see that it's a different record ID. And that's because we've now created a brand new record in Salesforce right over here. The last action that we want to work on is delete. To do this, we'll head over to a delete action. And again, the same rules apply in terms of which record you actually want to delete. If you find multiple, if no match is found, you can create. In this case, typically you'll skip. And I want to delete, again, the record that the email and last name match the email and last name in Salesforce. Let's grab this last name. We'll put that in here. We'll leave the email as is, and we'll run our push. And if we head over and look at our integration logs and refresh, one moment, sorry, we didn't run the delete. Let's apply this, and we'll save, and we'll refresh. So again, let's delete the record whose last name and email matches this, and we only need to really fill out the last name and email in this case. So let's just do that. We'll do last name and we'll do email. And this is the record that I'm deleting in Salesforce that matched this last name and email, and that's because, let's just head over our Salesforce integration again. That's because our condition says that if the email matches the email in Salesforce and the last name matches the last name, then let's run our delete. So we'll go ahead and push. We got some validation here. Let's run our push. Excellent. So now if I head over to my integration logs, you can see that we've deleted a record. Which record have we deleted? This one, which you can see is the same as this. And if I now come here and refresh, this record should actually be deleted and we shouldn't have access to it anymore. Typically, when you run a delete action like that, you would do it based on some kind of record ID as opposed to fields like this, but there are use cases that would fit this as well. And that's how you can create, update, /upsert, or delete records in Salesforce really easily in Titan. And that's how it's done.